Welcome, everybody, to a Get Chatty with Matty. Today's guest, Christian Suprean. Yes. You've already seen him on 2 podcasts with me. I've been on his show. We did some on mine as well, so please do check them out. We put the worlds to rights. We talk about a lot of things. And as always, Christian, we start every single guest on their first appearance on this series with the same 3 questions. So first question, Christian, what gets you excited?
All right, well, what gets me excited is basically seeking the kingdom of God at all times, trying to live in the presence of the creators of the universe at every moment of the day and allowing them to guide my life. And man, I'm telling you, once I started doing this, I feel like I experienced what people think about heaven would be on earth at almost all times. So just seeking the kingdom of God is what gets me out of the bed and jumps me out. I mean, it's crazy how early I get up. I mean, it's 8:24 my time this morning, and I've already been up for 3.5 hours already. So, and this is on a Saturday. I even get up earlier during the week to make sure that I have time that I need. But yeah, that's what gets me excited, my friend.
Well, I'll tell you something. You certainly have a massive energy, Christian. You really do. And just for the first time, when I've asked that question out loud, give me some, if you don't mind, some practical examples of, you said living in the Kingdom Ambassador lifestyle, but you wake up in the morning, you got this zest for life. Give some examples. Give me, if you don't mind, of how it feels like heaven for you. Give me, if you don't mind, Christian.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. So, I mean, I experience a lot on my back porch and in my backyard. I just feel the presence, right? And certain times, like if I put some music on and I'm out there singing, I will feel him. I will feel the creators of the universe with me. And like everything looks so beautiful. Like my backyard never looked beautiful like this, like it does anymore to me. Like things just change. And when you're in this, once you surrender, right? Once you surrender to God, our Father, and you ask Jesus to guide your life, your eyes open up to the beauty in this world. And no man can create any art piece that is better than anything that you can look at that God created, really, right? And so, I mean, I just go out and I'll gaze into the sun, gaze at the sky sometimes, and it's just, I just dwell in all the beauty of life, if that makes sense.
That's a superb answer. Superb answer. Okay, Christian, question number 2. What gets you excited?
I thought that was question number 1.
Oh, sorry. So, oh, mate. Question number 2. What gives you hope?
So what gives me hope is that same message, right? But what gives me hope is me seeing so many people realizing, right, what's happening in the world. So many people waking up and starting to get involved in, I mean, I can't speak for overseas, but I think it's happening everywhere because, I can speak for some overseas because I see it on the internet. People are standing up and doing things that I've never seen in my lifetime, right? I never even used to be into politics, right? Because I was worried about it. I didn't think we could do anything about it. But now, the exposure of everything, and so many people came together so many people are coming together behind the message of humanity, right? Like of bringing humanity back to the forefront and us taking back control instead of allowing these people and the TV and the radio and the music and whatever else to control our lives. I, in the past, allowed sports and music to pretty much control my life. Now I go back and listen to some of these things that I was listening to. It's like, wow, like how in the world was I even allowing myself to listen to this, right? And then with the sports, I'm not saying I don't watch football here and there, American football here and there anymore, or, you know, some different things, but it used to consume my life. Like, that's all I used to do. Today is Saturday. So normally on a Saturday, if my son would have a football game, I'd go coach his football game. But from 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, outside of going to coach his football game, I'd be watching college football all day. I might watch an hour or so of it today nowadays, right? I barely even watch NFL hardly at all anymore. So, but I mean, that's more about me. Like, and I stepped out and started doing other things, but there's so many people, right? So many people across the board around the world, definitely in this country and really around the world, that are stepping out and starting to take control of their lives and trying to bring truth to what's really going on. And the thing is, the more light that we, the people, shine on these evil forces, darkness cannot survive in the light, and they are not hiding anymore. I mean, that's the thing. Like, just if you don't think that we are winning, these people are showing you who they are now. They're basically saying this is who we worship, pretty much. I mean, Joe Biden does a freaking soul of the nation with a blood red with these. I mean, if you look at the symbolism that was behind him and you do just a little bit of research, right? You didn't have to know much about it. You just do a little bit of research with that backdrop of when he did the soul of the nation speech. I mean, you didn't even really have to do research. You could have looked at it and been like, man, that's a demonic looking scene there. You know what I mean? Like, and you're talking about the soul of the nation and you're yelling at people saying that basically MAGA, which just means make America great again, people, like every country. I mean, the UK should be trying to make the UK great. Russia should be trying to make Russia great. You know, Iran should be trying to make Iran great. Like, every country should be trying to make themselves great, right? So, but you're telling the people that are trying to make our country great that they're terrorists? I mean, they are basically showing their hand, and that's how I really know we're winning, because darkness cannot survive in the light, and the darkness is coming into the light, and they're really not hiding it anymore. And I truly believe that most of humanity is not going to go the evil route once they realize that there is good and evil, or is God and the devil, however you want to look at it, right? Most of humanity is going to go on the good side.
Yes, man. That is an answer and a half for that, man. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, Christian. And getting back to something you said there as well about sports and consuming TV and media and everything. My dad used to tell me that when I was younger, about balance. He says, you've got to balance things out. He says, as much as you can. He says, don't do too much of something, too much of another thing. And I'm like that now as well, where I balance it out. I do stuff for my work, stuff for... So it's a really good answer, that was. And I love what gives you hope, because you're right. There's more people awake now to nonsense going on than ever before. And it's good to see people forming together and, you know, building in communities and, you know, sharing messages like this. So really good answer, that. It's well done.
I mean, look
well
at
done.
me and you,
And
just for an example, right? Just me and you for an example. I mean, you're in the UK, I'm in the United States. If it wasn't for this movement, we would have never met. And now, I mean, we're like brothers, like literally like brothers. Like, we met a brother overseas. It's awesome. So, but yeah, definitely.
It's like brothers from another country. It's awesome. I'm going to actually touch on some of that as well, about how we met shortly as soon as we got your third answer. And not just how we met, some of the stuff you did early on when I first met you, which I thought was brilliant. But third question, we'll go for the third question now. What's the best thing about life?
The best thing about life is experiencing the kingdom of God pretty much at all times. Like, we kind of talked about this a little while ago, but I would say I was religious for the first 41, 42 years of my life. I thought I was trying to go somewhere when I died. I thought I was trying to do okay here, but I mean, it was very easy to fall into temptation when you can think, oh, I'm going to go somewhere when I die, right? So I could still ask for forgiveness. But now that I realize, right, what Jesus Christ was trying to teach us when he came here. He was teaching us our power. He was teaching us how to dominate, right? How to dominate every circumstance and situation that he came in. You know, I got this little bracelet here that says WWJD on it. One of my great friends, elderly lady, a widow. It's this little green thing right here. It says WWJD on it. It's basically what would Jesus do, right? And she gave it to me about a year and a half ago. And I mean, it's priceless to me. It probably cost maybe $3, but whatever, it's freaking priceless because she made it for me and all that type of thing. But I always, you know, when I first got it, even I'm like, Jesus would love, Jesus would care, Jesus would this. Well, one day I was sitting in silence, and that's something right there that is very, very important in my opinion, no matter what, if you're sitting in silence with Jesus or if you're just meditating. But I was sitting in silence, and he said, yeah, I love people, but really what I would do when you ask that question, you should say dominate should be the answer, right? I dominate. And that's what gets me excited, to be able to dominate every circumstance that I come across by being able to call on the kingdom of heaven for heavenly aid at any time. Now that I know, right? Now that I know that I'm following the commandments, or, you know, I like to just call it the kingdom lifestyle. Love one another. I like to say as Jesus has loved you. And, or you could say love your neighbor as yourself. I just don't. There was times in the past I didn't like myself. So why would I be telling somebody that don't like themselves to love your neighbor as yourself, when there's a good chance that if you're searching for answers, you're in a position where you're not really liking yourself that much, right? And then there's putting other people's interests first. And that doesn't mean, you know, some people are coming at me saying that if you put other people's interests first, you're going to end up as a beggar on the side of the road. Well, then what good is that? Right. I mean, that doesn't mean that every dollar that you make, you go and pay somebody else's bills and paying your own bills. But that means that, you know, if let's say you're going to hang out with your friends or something, but then somebody calls you and they're in a situation, right, that they need, and you're all excited about going to hang out with your friends, watch a game or whatever like this, but you deny yourself to go help your friend, right? That's in a situation that needs help. That's looking out for other people's interests first. Or you're driving somewhere like that, and you see somebody on the side of the road and you stop for a little bit and you help them out. That's putting other people's interests first over your own, right? But once I started realizing that I was doing these things to receive power, because there's power inside of each and every one of us. There's a spirit that lives inside of each and every one of us. The same spirit that rose Jesus from the dead is inside of each and every one of us. I don't know what more power you can get than being able to raise somebody from the dead, right? That lives inside of you. And no matter how you look at it, right? If you look at it as spirit, or you look at it as law of attraction, you look at it as God, we all have a power inside of us. I know I look at it, how I look at it as God, but that's what gets me, you know, that's what, can't remember to answer the question, but whatever, God just has me going. But that's what the best thing about life is being able to experience that at all times, like being able to walk into a situation and say, dude, I live in Louisiana, right? And I know you don't know much about Louisiana, but Louisiana has bugs and mosquitoes and all this. I mean, we're basically in a swamp, right? Louisiana is built around swamps, all right? So there's bugs, mosquitoes, and all this kind of thing. Bro, I might not even remember every time, but once one bites me, I can tell you this. I say, and I know people are going to think this is crazy, but it works. I say, bugs, mosquitoes, spiders, whatever it is, I dominate you. I dominate you in the name of Jesus of Nazareth. You can hang out with me. I even tell them, you can hang out with me. I'm not going to come after you. But if you land on me, I'm going to smash you because I dominate you. Now, leave me alone. And boom. And dude, they don't bite me anymore. Like, I don't know what to say, but it works. Once you realize how you were created, we were created to dominate the earth. We were created to have dominion over the earth. It says it in Genesis 1:26. When God created us, he created us to have dominion over the earth. He created us in his image and likeness, which means that we are of God. We are the same material of God. He went inside of himself. Everything else that he created, like when he created, I'll just go to one thing. When he created the plants, he went to the earth. He said he went to the earth and he created the plants, right? When he created the fish, he went to the water and created the water. When he created the sun, he went to the firmament and created the sun. When he created mankind, he said, let us. He went inside of himself and created us. Let us create mankind in our image and likeness. And then he gave us dominion over the earth. That's not power over, like, I don't want to have power over you. I want to have power to dominate every circumstance and situation that I walk into. So if I walk into something and you're not feeling good, I want to be able to dominate that sickness just like he did, right? And that's the type of thing that gets me freaking excited and looking forward to life, because it's happening. It happens. It happens. I mean, so I have a hummingbird feeder outside, right? And I had it outside all summer. It was the first year I had a hummingbird feeder. One of my good friends has hummingbird feeders all around his yard, and it's freaking awesome to see these little bitty birds come around and fly. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a hummingbird feeder. Well, I knew they were eating the whole year, but I never seen them. About a month ago or so, right? Well, probably in August, towards the end of August, I walked outside and there was a hummingbird on the thing, but he flew off right away. And dude, I didn't even think about it. I immediately said, right? Because this is the mindset that I'm in now. I immediately said, hey, hummingbird, I'm not going to hurt you. I'd love to hang out with you. I'd love to see you. Like, bro, these hummingbirds come and eat at this feeder now with me sitting basically right underneath it. I'm like 8 feet from this feeder. I got a video yesterday on my phone. I never really thought, just yesterday, I thought to take a video of the hummingbird sitting there eating. I didn't see him the whole time. Like, we dominate every situation, every circumstance that we're in, if we understand our true power. And that's what makes me look forward to every single.
Bro, that's some answer, man. So that's the best thing about life to you. Couple of things that I'm going to just interject here. So you don't sound crazy to me, bro. Like, I mean, maybe I'm going to sound crazy to people now, but I talk to the birds when I'm feeding the birds. You know, sometimes when I step outside into an area where I usually feed the birds, I swear, they all start calling. They all just start calling and calling. These are wild birds, mate, where I'm going for a walk.
But they know like what's happening.
Yeah, they know I'm on the way. They see me come out. They see me come out of a car. They see me go. And all of a sudden, when I walk onto this certain part, they're like, they just go wild. They know, and it's a question. So that doesn't sound crazy to me. That doesn't at all. What a superb answer. But you know, you said one thing in there that when you said you had that bracelet and it says, what would you do? What would Jesus do? It's quite interesting you say that, because as you know, I'm seeing parallels between self-development, universe stuff, and I never forget reading that it said to do that in a self-development book that I read years and years ago, and I cannot think of the name of it, but it said, try and think of someone you know in a situation who's been in this situation, and what would they do in it if you're struggling with something. So, and I started doing that when I was younger, and it really does help. So it's interesting you said that as well, and I love the parallels. And Christian, that was a superb answer, mate. Absolutely superb answer. Now, I'm going to get on to the next part of this podcast, which is taking you down memory lane a little bit here. Now, it is a very serious subject, but the way you covered it and the way you got stuck out there was just blew my mind. And I don't know whether I'm going to actually spark your memory here, but right bang smack in the middle of COVID, when everybody was being bombarded with all the marketing sales campaign and whatnot, every other day or so, I'd pop onto Telegram and I'd see one of your videos. And yes, you were doing something from a very serious perspective. You were trying to help people, but the way you did it was epic. And I'm going to bring you back here. It was your supermarket sweep videos. That's what I call them, where you were going around the supermarket with no mask on, telling people, I want to see your beautiful smile. I want to see it. Talking to people, and people were taking their masks, and you're going, guys, it's not, it's fine. You can breathe. You can be outside. And one of them, you even had some security guard where he was literally talking to you, asking you questions about it. But bro, I want to bring you back to that. And you know what? If you can send some clips to me right now, in between this, I'll share some of these clips so people can actually see them, because they were wonderful, man. And I just want to say well done for doing that.
We're going to try this again, see how this works out, see if it works out well. About to walk into the store, go shopping, and we're going to see how many people that we can possibly wake up and with these face diapers on, right? And also just to prove that you don't need to wear these face diapers, right? It's very simple. It's very simple when you walk in the store not to have to wear a face diaper. Basically, lately, all I've been having to say is no thank you. So here we go. Let's see what happens. There we go. He said no to China. I love seeing that. I can't wait to see your whole beautiful face again. Don't take it anything wrong, but I love it, man. No mask. I love it, man. There we go. Dude was wearing no mask. The wife had the mask like way down here. But at least they understand what's going on in the world. It's a bunch of nonsense. A lot more people at least walking around with them like way under here today. Hey, you know, another one said no to China. I love it. Keep showing everybody who you are, brother. All day. Dude, this is wild. I haven't been here with this many people. Another one. All the way off, bro. All the way off. I know you know it don't work. All the way off. There you go. He took it off. Boom. Let's go. Let's go. You can do it too, bro. You can do it too. Is that Duncan? Oh, bro, you gotta take it off, my brother. You gotta take it off. All you gotta do is say medical condition, dog. You don't need that thing. You know it's a bunch of BS. There you go. 2 took it off just now. Let's go.
Absolutely well done for doing that. But what gave you the idea of doing that? And have I given you a bit of a spark for your memory now for those bits that you used to do?
So basically, what made me, well, I was doing it from the jump. Like, I never wore a mask ever. I was blessed to be following a guy. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember his name right now. I haven't followed him in a while. It was a doctor. Can't think of his name right now, but I was following him, and and it was like right before COVID. I started following him, like January of 2020, and right around when me and my boy Eric started Black, White, No Difference. And he's the one who really turned me on to this guy. And so right in the beginning, he was talking about, like, right in the beginning of COVID, he started talking about, look, they're going to most probably try to mask you. These masks do not work. And he said something that made me, you know, like, oh, well, they definitely don't work. But he's like, look, the only reason why doctors wear masks is to protect the patient. It's never to protect themselves. Like, no matter how much the patient is sick, the doctor's going to wear the mask if he's in surgery, so he don't spit in the like, so, you know, it blocks their spit and stuff like this, right? It's not to keep them from being sick. So I was like, man, well, that makes a lot of sense. And then I did the research on how these masks don't, you know, they don't block anything, right? And so I never wore a mask ever, like ever at all. Did I put a mask on? Now, I guess I should preface that by saying, yes, did I get into an airport with the mask on? Yes, I'd put it on, walk into the airport and take it off. Like, literally, like, I never kept it on. If I had to get into a place with it, I would. But it was really only the airport that I had to do that with. But then I took it right off. I even took it off while I was on the plane, because I would basically say, if you're eating or drinking, so I just would have something to drink the whole time and keep it open and keep the mask off. I mean, how stupid is that, right? You're on a plane, but if you got to have a mask on, but you're on a plane, probably the most, you know, I don't know, concealed place that you could possibly be. But if you have a drink in front of you, all of a sudden COVID goes away, right? I mean, it's a little nuts, right? So basically, I was doing that to answer the question. There's a long answer, but I was doing that already. I was already doing it. So as far as not recording it, and then somehow, some way, somebody was saying something about y'all should go to the store and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to record one and just see what happens. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. And the 3 that I did turned out beautifully. And I mean, you couldn't, I mean, I even had one where I was talking to a guy outside that knew a bunch of, like, he had a job that he knew a bunch of different, you know, stuff that was happening, like in the inside and stuff. One, I talked to a dude when he was he didn't even realize, he was like, I didn't even think about that I could take I had quite a few people take their masks off.
I remember.
I see now when I go to the store, I don't say much to them, but I do everything in my power to make them feel like I'm avoiding them. And I yell out monkeypox. So every time now, there's not many people anymore with masks on, but like if I see somebody, I'm walking down the store, right, and I see somebody, I'll kind of monkeypox, and I'll kind of move out the way and try to avoid them as much as I can. Because now I'm just trying to shame them. Because really, if you are still wearing a mask, to me, the only reason why I would wear a mask right now is if I got monkeypox. Because if you ever seen somebody with monkeypox, you might want to cover your face up because it's got stuff on. It ends up all over your freaking face.
For me, bro, the only way.
I mean, it was just inspired to record it because I was doing it from the jump. Because I don't know. I mean,
the smiles you got as well. You got so many smiles from people, and I remember you going around, and it was awesome. It was a live shopping trip with you without your mask, telling people, you know, don't be afraid. Make sure you get outside. Make sure you have fresh air.
Yeah, and I was actually shopping. I was actually doing my shopping.
Like, are you shopping? Putting your shops, you're going around. It was, bro, it was epic. And I'm waiting for the next one to come out and the next one to come out, and I'm seeing little clips of them. It was so cool. And there was other people doing it as well that did it in the UK and elsewhere after you did it. And you never know, man. Maybe you inspired them to do that. But I like that. Hopefully that was a nice trip down memory lane for you, man, because those vids really did. It was a serious subject, and you were definitely putting across a proper message. But you did it with some giggles, man, and you got a lot of people to smile, take their masks off, and it was great seeing you. And you know, that's when me and you started to get really close as well. And I'll tell you some other thing that you did, which was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And we've spoke about this before, but there was one time where you were going for a meal. I don't know if you remember this, but you were going for a meal, and it was with Matrix and Shady from MG, and there was Flynn going as well, and a couple of other people. And jokingly, using, like, this is British humor, but jokingly, I sent you a message saying, "Oh, dude, tell General Flynn I said hello." But it's like a joke, like, you know, if you dose somebody. An English joke would be, "Oh, tell him I said sound," as if like, "Oh, tell Ronaldo I said sound." Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way you possibly know him. So I said that to you as a joke, and I never ever forget this. Halfway through the meal, I'm getting messages off you, and you're going, "Oh, General Flynn said hi, Shady says hi." You send him pictures, and bro, that made my night. I was cracking up. I was going, "Bro, I only said that as a joke," and I just thought that was epic as well, man. That was right at the start when I got to know you as well, and you know. Some great things you've done, some absolutely great shows as well. And I would say my favourites are definitely the supermarket one. Just getting back to that briefly because it just inspired me, mate. Inspired other people as well. I mean, you went round, you told people facts. And I remember that one you talked about where that guy he did have knowledge of something, and he was shocked at some of the things you were coming out. He was sharing things with you, and I was like, wow, as if you've done that just from taking your mask off and going for a supermarket shop, man, and you made videos out of it. And
that guy,
well done.
Yeah, that guy was actually outside, like he had a table set up outside of the store, like getting donations for something, selling something for Boy Scouts or something or another. And that's what I told him. I said, if you take that mask off, I'll go get, because I didn't have cash on me or something like that. So I had to go get cash out the car. And he took his mask off. He didn't want to be on TV. I mean, like on the video because of his job. But yeah, he had a lot of inside knowledge. And then some things that I was saying, it was, I don't know. It's just the way, like the thing is, like I said, the very first one I did, I didn't know if I was going to put it out. I didn't know how it was going to come out. I just set the phone in the shopping cart and kind of went around. And then sure enough, it worked out freaking perfect. So yeah, so that was awesome. That was a lot of fun times. And I still do different things. I just don't I still talk to people. Like the other day, yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Yesterday, I was in the gas station yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And this lady, she's talking to me, but she has a mask on, so I keep backing up from her, and you could tell in her eyes, she's like, "Why does he keep backing up?" And but like I'm just, I don't just doing it out of whatever, right? Well, and then she goes up to the counter. We were in line, and she goes up to the counter and she buys cigarettes. And I'm like, "You wearing a mask, but you buying cigarettes?" She turned around and she pulled her mask off and she said, "Leave me alone." And then she put her mask back on, but she grabbed the mask with her hand, the full mask with her hand, and put it back on. But I'm like, "Do you know what you just did just now?" And then she ignored me. But the thing is, those type of things are going to end up having people wonder, like, what was that guy talking about? Why is he? But I mean, you're buying cigarettes and wearing a mask. I mean, I don't have nothing against people smoking cigarettes, whatever. Do what you do. But it's obviously not good for you. But you're going to wear a mask? Like, the thing is, cigarettes are restricting your breathing a little bit. And now you're going to restrict it on top of that with a mask.
I've seen people coughing into them. And
oh my God. I mean, thank goodness we don't deal with it too much anymore, right? I mean, there's a lot of times I don't even see somebody in a mask for the whole day. So, I mean, it's not many, but I actually seen, I think it was on Getter this morning when I was uploading something, but somebody wrote an article saying that it's time to start nicely shaming the last of the COVIDians, is what they called it. Kind of like the last of the Mohicans, but they called it the last of the COVIDians. And it had a guy walking with a mask on or something. And
do you remember when we were younger, what our parents and grandparents used to say, "Get out in the fresh air, it will do you the world of good"? I don't know whether they've got a similar saying in America, in the States, but that's what we were told. And that was ringing in my ears throughout the whole of this.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It was crazy. And they convinced a lot of people to do that wild stuff. But I don't know. That was another thing, though, that I think a lot of people over time understood. And now I believe the majority of the people, if they ever came back and said, "You got to wear a mask again," would say no. There's no way we're doing this again. So even though we had to go through that to get to where we're at today, right? But some of us woke up before COVID, right? A lot of people woke up during COVID. So a lot of good also came out of that time, if that makes sense. I know there's a lot of wild stuff, but a lot of, people having to stop and slow down. And I mean, the thing is, during the lockdown, the 14 days that we were locked down over here, that we were totally locked down, which the thing is, I still worked and still did whatever I really wanted to do. But
how many days, Christian?
We were actually locked. It was like 2 weeks to stop the spread, right? The very, very first 2 weeks to stop the spread. We were locked down for 14 days. We wasn't supposed to do anything, which we still worked and did. I did whatever. I had my kids basically chilling, but after the first couple of days, I let them go hang out with their girlfriends and boyfriends and whatnot like that. But on that 14-day deal, me and my two kids were watching. My third wasn't here, but was watching basically the occult series by LK Dark Delight, which is Serial Brain. I don't know if you ever heard of Serial Brain, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But in that lockdown series is when it wasn't nothing to do with religion, right? But that's when I realized that Jesus came to teach us our power. Instead of Jesus came to teach us how to get to heaven, I realized that now I didn't know much about the kingdom at that time, but I did realize in that situation, because that's when I found out, like I always thought that Lucifer was jealous of God. Lucifer was mad at God because he was jealous of what God gave man. When I realized, I mean, that was a big time, like, wait, what? What? An angel was jealous of what God gave man? And then the more I looked into it, it's God breath or the Holy Spirit or spirit that we have. Angels don't even have. Angels are in awe of us. Like Lucifer is actually in awe of us. He hates us, but he's in awe of what we have. And he has no power at all over us. The only power that he has over us is when we give it to him, to allow him to manipulate us through worry or through anger or through frustration or through whatever it is that we allow him to manipulate us with, right? But so there's a lot of good that came out of that time too, of us kind of having to chill out and lock down. And a lot of people woke up because there was so many people. I mean, especially over here, and I'm sure over there as well. You know, you go to work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 at night. Then you come home, you grab your kids, you go to football practice or baseball practice or soccer practice or, whatever practice there is. And then you come home, it's 9 o'clock or, 7:30 at night. You cook dinner, you feed them, you get them to bathe. Hopefully you get homework done as well. And then you go to bed. And then by that time, you and your wife are just ready to chill. You're not ready to go, oh, all right, now it's 9:30 at night. Let's go do some research. No, it's like, okay, let's sit back and chill and watch some stupid movie that's going to program us, or watch some stupid reality show that's going to program us, or watch some stupid, whatever it is that's going to program us. Like all these, I mean, our parents did call them programs. I don't know if they did that over there by you, but I mean, my
TV programs.
My grandma, leave me alone while I watch my program. Okay. But now it's like, holy cow, you're telling me to leave you alone so you can get programmed.
It's so true. It's so true. And you're right, man. I mean, that's one massive thing that's come out of this, where that 9 to 5, come home, sort your kids out, end up chilling 9:30, nothing else to do, just that's really been broken. That's been broken. There's so many people that don't do that routine anymore, and they probably never will. A lot of those people research it
because we stopped. Right. It's because we stopped. And we now, is people going to get back into that routine where, they go to work, the kids and all this kind of, yes. But I don't think, I think the majority of people will never. Well, right. You might not, but people are going to still get back into that routine. But what the thing is, they're not going to get into the routine of not paying attention. They will always make sure they pay attention. And see, the thing is, for like people like me and you, we might research and look at things for a couple hours a day. But if people just pay attention for 10 minutes a day, people just go and look and see what's happening really in the world for 10, 15 minutes a day, you can find it if you're really looking for it. But I mean, and now there's so many alternative medias out there, like the FG show or X22 report, or, what we do or whatever like that. I mean, there's so many alternative medias out there. You don't have to go to the CNNs and all this kind of thing to get your quote unquote news anymore. I'll
tell you something, you've mentioned some really good there as well, because you're right, there is alternative routes for media now. It's something, I put a video out at the start of the year saying that I believe that fakers will fade away, mainstream's dying, and I was looking into the revenue that who spends advertising revenue with different media companies, etc. And it's changed completely. And you're right, people are actually sourcing for themselves information now more than ever. And it does only take 10 to 15 minutes a day of just being aware. It does take turning off the TV, turning off the mainstream, but top notch, Christian, because there are more people now awake to corruption, nonsense, aware of mainstream media tactics. And you can tell because of ratings, because of viewers, because of likes, because of comments, because of everything. Like even with the bots that they put into some companies and the tech companies, it's still nonsense. And most people realize that now, and more than ever before. So that is definitely a good thing that's come out of it. And I hope it doesn't go back to the old ways. And I don't think it's going to
ever go back to where we were, right? Now, will people get back on those type of routines? Yes, but they're never going to allow themselves to get distracted so much or some people will still, right? But I don't believe that we're going to allow ourselves to get distracted to where we don't pay attention at all anymore.
They've invited you back to the Catholic Church to do a talk and
to Catholic radio. So I'm going back to Catholic radio this Wednesday coming up on October 12th, talking more about it. And then again, in November, it's going to be a 3-night thing. It's going to be basically based around the same thing we did with the other, at the other retreat, but this is going to be called a 3-night mission or whatever like that. So it's going to be an hour each night. But this one's going to be inside of the church, actual church. The other one that you seen was inside like the community center. This is going to be inside the church for everybody. And I was able to convince him last time and this time that you don't have to be Catholic. You don't have to be like anybody can come. Because I was like, look, I'm not going to do it unless anybody can come. We can't keep this specific to Catholics, right? Because that's not my message. And so like, dude, God's opening up doors like to get this and to get the message out, bro. It's huge, bro. And then this right here is going to be huge too.
Yeah, man. I love it. I hope it is. But people are really receptive to this so far, man. I'm not joking. Like, I've had a lot of good comments. A lot of the community members, they're liking the people that have come on. It's interesting. They're saying it's something a bit different. So, mate, I hope it does. I really, really do. But I'm interested to hear more about that because I was going to ask you questions on that actually about that Templars. What was it? It was like a Catholic Templars. Because after I saw your vid, I researched it. So I looked up and thought, what the heck's this, man? So I was, you know what I'm like? I was just like straight away looking into it. Like, what's this? And I was like, oh my God, this is like a religious group that helps others and stuff like that. And I was like, but they're Catholic. And I was so confused by that part. That
the Knights of Columbus? The Catholic Knights of
Columbus, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing. Like this group.
But they had you on.
Huh?
But they had you on and you're not Catholic. So I was confused.
Well, technically I am. I mean, I guess if you would put me in a religion, I guess I go to a Catholic church. I've gone to a Catholic church all my life. But I don't consider myself religious, period. Like, I don't consider myself Catholic. I consider myself a Christ ambassador because I never learned any of this stuff that I'm learning now. Once I started reading the Bible and doing a bunch of research and all this. And like, I always was taught in the Catholic church that we're here to try to make it to heaven. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to try to get somewhere when we die, and we're just here, basically. I mean, to help other people, right? But that's the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. I mean, I said the Our Father all of my life for 41 years, 42 years possibly, and didn't understand what we're saying. But it says, Jesus taught us to pray, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, which means holy is thy name, which holy just means he's got integrity, right? So whatever he tells you, he's going to do. But then it says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. He told us to pray for whatever is happening in earth to happen in heaven, whatever God's will is in heaven to happen on earth. But we're all trying to make it to heaven. Like, we're all trying to go somewhere when we die instead of trying to make heaven come down to earth like we're supposed to be doing. Like Jesus taught us to do. Like, we are supposed to be dominating every situation that we walk into, just like he did.
It's so interesting you say that. It's so interesting that you say that because, as you know, I'm not like I'm not religious. I'm spiritual in ways, but there's a lot of like the universe stuff, energy, cosmos, all that kind of stuff where it says the same thing. And I mean, they're talking about you're meant to have a good life here. You're meant to have a good life here. You're meant to. So interesting you say that.
It's all. I've done a lot, like, because that's the thing. Like, I searched, I was still going to church while I was searching for the secret, right? I mean, at 32, I started reading like Think and Grow Rich and this, that, and the other thing. But it was all about, that was the thing. Like, I always had a hard time forgiving myself. I've always had a hard time believing totally in myself. I think that has one thing that, I mean, like, there's a part in the Catholic Mass where you say, I don't even like saying it, but I'll say it for the purposes, but where you say, I am not worthy for you to enter under my roof, which if you're living in sin and all this, then maybe you're not. But for you, whoa, what happened? What just happened?
I'm still here, bro, but your screen went funny.
That was crazy. This is a brand new computer, and that's the first time that ever has happened, dude.
What happened, man?
It's a brand new computer. Not brand new, but I mean brand new from February. I mean, it's a gaming computer. Man, that was crazy. But I mean, they don't like this message. So that's the thing. I wouldn't doubt this happens a couple of times. Well, dude, the thing is, bro, it tells you in the Bible that the devil himself, once the kingdom message starts to be preached, the devil himself will come and snatch it from people. You don't send demons. I mean, it says it. But what I was getting to is that everything, bro, like the personal development stuff, what you read in the Bible, or like the spiritual thing, it's all basically wrapped around the same principles, if that makes sense. Right. Yeah. It's all around the same principles. Just like personal development, though, says you have to believe in yourself. Right. And like I said, it was hard for me to do that. Like, I don't even say I am not worthy anymore. In like when they say that I do go to Catholic Mass once a week. When they say that, I say, thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Father, for creating me worthy and in your image. Dude, they created us in their image. So if they created us in their image, which means not just the way we look, but in their nature, and then in their likeness means the way they function. If they created us like that, why are we not created worthy? Why are we not worthy? If we're living right. Now, if you're going around doing crazy stuff, then you probably shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, you probably shouldn't be, because that was the crazy thing about me too, bro. Like I would go around and do all this crazy stuff and go to church on the weekend. Like, what the heck was that doing? I might as well just not have gone. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't even matter. But that's what religion had me, as long as I ask for forgiveness before I die, I will be okay. Dude, and so when a temptation came, it wasn't, a temptation comes and you're like, oh, well, I can go and do that. And then after I'm done, I'll feel bad for it later on. And then I'll ask for forgiveness and everything will be good. I'll be able to ask for forgiveness before I die. But dude, when you flip it and the whole thing comes about getting heaven to come down to earth, them temptations are taking your power away from you. Like, if you give in to the temptation, now you're losing the power that you have to call on heavenly aid or spiritual aid or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, because I believe that part happens no matter what. If you're not now we know that it can work in the other realm as well. You know what I mean? On the opposite side, because it can, we were created to function like God. But it actually says, bro, twice in the Bible that we are gods, but with little g's. Like, it actually says that twice in the Bible, once in the Old Testament, once in the New Testament.
See, I find that absolutely amazing. And what you were saying right at the start of that, you've just proved it again. The personal development stuff, the spiritual stuff, the parallels are uncanny, because it tells you to do the same in the spiritual stuff, in the universe stuff, in the the law of attraction. It really does. It tells you to do the same. So it's a great message. It's a great message. And
the only difference for me was, go ahead.
Forgiveness. You mentioned the forgiveness, and it was hard for you to forgive. And I think sometimes that's the problem with the religions that we've had. There's a lot of, I don't know whether they've just got the message mixed or something from the original things that were written, or I don't know, but there seems to be a lot of putting yourself through the pain and, and not forgiving yourself. Sometimes even is geared to not forgiving yourself. And, there's some things, sometimes we do bad things in life and we regret it and we move on from it. And some of them are adversity. And, for me, a large part of the spiritual, universal kind of stuff that I've practiced, the self-development, has had to be forgiving for things. And some of it's difficult. Some of it is really hard. And still now I struggle with some stuff from my past. But, I think that putting myself forward and working with people like you and other people and all the people who've had on the podcast and stuff like that, it's really helped the people in the communities, the members, and it's helped me to want to do better. So I suppose in a way the things that I've done wrong have geared me to do right. But from my experience with religion, to do right going forward, but it doesn't pan out that way. Yet what you're explaining there, the universal stuff, the spiritual stuff, the self-development stuff, it is geared that way. And I think that's one of the fundamental wrongs with most religions, and the control seems to be with who's here.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. They can't let you, religion cannot let you understand that you have a power, right? Religion needs to keep, and now I'm not saying that every religion and every priest and every pastor across the board feel this way, but the higher ups, just like the higher ups in the FBI and the higher ups in the CIA, and like not every FBI agent is bad, right? But the ones higher up are. So same thing in the religious situation. I mean, dude, the crazy part about it is, and I'm going to do a video on this either yesterday, tomorrow, or the next day, the religious people are who killed Jesus. Like the high priest.
I'm not laughing at that, but it's true. It's true.
But it is true. The high priest and the elders are the people who put Jesus to death. And then when he rose in Matthew 28, when he rose from the dead, like, I mean, so many things, dude. I'm getting God bumps right now. But when he rose from the dead, bro, the religious people paid the Roman guard to go out and say that while they were sleeping, the disciples came and took his body. So that's why most people don't believe that Jesus even rose from the dead. It's because the religious people paid the lie.
There you go. There's the proof there. And they're the people that are...
But for some reason, we all became religious.
That place where you're meant to go to them to get the forgiveness. You're meant to go to them to do this. And It's just wrong. It's just totally wrong. And I tell you something. You see there, Christian, that's where we're going to end. Thank you very much, Christian Suprean, for being on Chatty with Matty. Get Chatty with Matty. Thank you. You're rolling. That is the ending. Thank you very much. Thank you for being on. Right, let's go.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for everything. And the one thing that changed for me out of all of that, right, is that self-development, law of attraction, and all was telling me I had to believe in me. And yes, you do have to believe in yourself, right? But once I went over to the kingdom, seeking the kingdom of God, which is a government, right? I don't have to fully depend on me anymore. I'm depending on the creators of the universe, right? To work through me. So that's the big difference. But thank you for having me on, my brother.
Boom, bro. Absolutely boom. Thank you, Christian Suprean.